afternoon delight here in Hartford, Connecticut as Jimmy Nielsen and the boys play host to New York Rebels 2, who are one of the hottest teams not only in the Eastern Conference but in the entirety of the USL Championship. We welcome you inside Dillon Stadium for tonight's broadcast, which is presented by Barmerino Nissan, Tyler Terrence, along with the ex-Sherman pro Devin Kerr. Hartford Athletic trying to bounce back after a gut-wrenching loss against Nashville SC, in which Matt Jorgensen was sent off in the 5th minute. Meanwhile, we talk about New York Rebels 2 and just how dominant they have been throughout this entire season so far, Devin.
Let's get right into it for Hartford Athletic and where they currently sit. 17 in the Eastern Conference, 16 points. They only have 10 games left on the schedule. That's a possible 30. If you look at years past where the playoff line was, and I'm going back to 10 teams now. Remember, we have 10 in the playoff picture. They have to hit right around the 42 to 44 point mark. If they get all 30 points, they're at 46, so there is no margin for error. Red Bull 2 with a win, virtually jump in front of Tampa Bay Rowdies for top of the Eastern Conference Championship.
And a bit of tri-state bragging rights on the line as well. About 125 miles separate the two clubs. Meanwhile, for Harry Swartz, they're glad to have him back in the lineup. Has not started a game since July 18th, that 4-3 loss against the Swope Park Rangers.
He's been an interesting one for Jimmy Nielsen. Jimmy telling us that, look, he was going to be an outside defender, then he was going to be a midfielder. They played him up top. He's got goals in a lot of his appearances. But coming back from injury, how do you now react? Made it into the 18. Now can you come in, get into the starting 11? More importantly, what is the relationship going to be like with him? He's going to be paired up with Logan Gadula at outside back.
And John Wolyniec has been very impressed defensively with his side as of late. Evan Loro's been holding it down along the back line and in between the sticks. 2 consecutive clean sheets for New York Rebels 2 and Loro against 2 of the better teams in the Eastern Conference.
Everybody looks at Red Bull 2 and thinks offense. They think about that 4-3-3. Sometimes they sit 2 in the middle, but it's their ability to pump numbers going forward. Evan Loro, 2 shutouts consecutively. They have not done that all season long, so they are now firing on all cylinders, both sides of the ball.
Hartford Athletic looking for a marquee win against the New York Rebels 2 side that is one of the hottest teams in the league, looking to stretch their unbeaten streak to 8. It's John Wolyniec's New York Rebels 2 and Jimmy Nielsen's Hartford Athletic when we come back. Almost ready for kickoff between Hartford Athletic and New York Rebels 2 here at Dillon Stadium. Hartford Athletic currently sitting in 17th, New York Rebels 2 on the opposite side of the spectrum and the opposite side of the standings. Currently sitting in second with 3 points, can jump into first place ahead of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who will take on the Birmingham Legion later tonight at Al Lang. But let's start with some business here in Hartford. Let's take a look at the starting 11. 4 changes for Jimmy Nielsen since that game against Nashville.
There's a couple key areas that you want to take a look at. We already talked about the right side, Harry Swartz, and how he's paired up with Logan Gadula, especially Logan Gadula coming back from FC Cincinnati. Nicky Downs goes into the middle next to Ryan Williams, and Danny Brewer on the left-hand side. That has been a spot that they've been lacking a little bit. but Dalgard went out with injury. They've rotated a couple pieces in and out. Now with Dalgard up top, how do you react going forward? Only one change for John Wolyniak. That's going to come in the midfield, and Janos Luba. The midfield three is the key question mark here. We know what the back line can do. Evan Laura obviously on a good streak, and the front three. But how does this pan out? All three of them can honestly play any position that they want to when it comes in the middle, and it may turn out that way. They can take that shape, kind of rotate it, and a lot of versatility for this squad going forward. They will keep the unit in the middle for Hartford Athletic guessing.
And right in the foreground of that shot is Jared Stroud. He's at the center of all that versatility. 9 goals, 7 assists, well on his way to a double-double season, as he has been excellent for New York Rebels too. And John Wolyniak, since joining more than a year ago, as it looks like our head referee is just about ready to go here from Dillon Stadium, and we're officially underway for a little afternoon delight here in Hartford. It's Hartford Athletic and New York Rebels 2, 3 points up for grabs in the USL Championships Eastern Conference. And right off the bat, New York Rebels 2 with probably the most recognizable style in the USL Championship. We asked Jimmy Nielsen, while it might be easy from a preparation standpoint and knowing what New York Rebels 2 is going to bring to the table from a style standpoint, executing and stopping them from accomplishing what they want to accomplish is a horse of a different color.
That's basically been what they've been plagued with over the course of their season. A lot of conversations with Jimmy Nielsen. You'll hear him say, I really like this 15 minutes, that 20, but they've never been able to package that together. Most recently, he referenced the Nashville game on the road, and he said, look, I was really proud of our boys for the first 3 minutes. Of course, Matt Jorgensen gets into the tackle with Michael Reed in the middle of the field. Positive wishes to him in his speedy recovery, but they never really were able to get themselves back on track going down to 10 men.
Good early delivery here, looking for Dixon. It skirts all the way to the back post. Harry Swartz able to get there. Good play from Danny Barrera in the opening moments. Here's Sem DeVitt. Mickey Downs trying to thread the needle, but good defensive play over on the far side from Kyle Duncan, the 21-year-old from Brooklyn. And right off the bat, Hartford Athletic showing some teeth. And Jimmy Nielsen, well, he said he knew he sounded kind of crazy when he was saying it, but he loved the first 3 minutes or so before Matt Jorgensen got sent off in the 5th. And was really excited about the way that that game was going to go if it had stayed 11v11 as we'll have our first corner of the afternoon.
Notice the quality start again for Hartford Athletic. New York Red Bull 2 immediately putting them into pressure in their own defensive third, but they've responded quite well. I get it, we're 2 minutes into the game, but this is what Jimmy Nielsen wants. He needs a quick start to his boys. So many times in past matches, they've gone down early and often, and they've really struggled to get back into matches.
Recording just their first clean sheet of the season 2 games ago in that 3-0 decision against the Bethlehem Steel. As this corner lofted towards the back post, Lauro off of his line, got caught in no man's land. First time effort from Nicky Downs into the backside of a New York Rebels 2 defender. And here come New York Rebels 2 on the other end, 4v3 if they hurry. Great look here, ball curled in towards the back post. It wasn't a bad idea whatsoever, and Frederick Douay can see that out of play. But Devin, if the first 2.5 minutes are any indication of what the 90 are going to look like, this is going to be a very exciting game.
A massive amount of speed for both squads on full exhibition. And notice the ball being played through number 66, Janos Luba. He was one of the question marks coming in, where a guy that has ridiculous pedigree coming out of Fordham gets drafted by Red Bull. Number 22 in the MLS draft this year. They did not sign him, though. Immediately Red Bull 2 pick him up. But a guy who was the Offensive Player of the Year 2 times, 4-time All-A-10, and is actually second all-time in assists at Fordham behind John Wolyniak, his leader, the man who's going to steer him in the right direction from the sideline. Talking to him about that record, he said, to be honest, I didn't even know until you brought it up. So kind of cool to see multi-generational talents being put together, obviously in different fashions now. Wolyniak at the management position, and Janos just continuing on his development as a professional.
Kyle Duncan restarting again for New York Rebels 2. Ryan Williams, 28-year-old from England, couldn't quite bring it down, and Douay will come off of his line. Had to be a bit of a concern for Jimmy Nielsen that their first clean sheet wasn't recorded until the first week of August, but better late than never. And you can go down that same road for New York Rebels too. If you think back to last season, didn't get their first road win until the month of September. Obviously a much different story here in 2019.
Quite interesting how this team has had so much success over the course of their tenure, but the Road form has always been an issue for this squad. 3-2-3 this year, 2-5-10 overall in 2018. Pretty much had an identical record in 2017. They'd go 3-8-5. We obviously have to take into account the fact that we've gone to 34 matches in a season now. In fact, the only time they've really been able to positively get that 13-1-2 all the way back in that 2016 championship winning season. A lot of similarities between that group and this.
Hartford Athletic would like to extend a special thank you to our title partner, Trinity Health of New England. New York Rebels 2 come again with a ton of pace. Jared Stroud in support. It goes negative for him. Stroud tees it up, goes for the curler, and it's an outstanding save from Frederick Dewey to deny Jared Stroud the Colgate product.
Interesting here from Red Bull 2. They have been known to switch their shape. They have gone to two holding midfielders. Yannick Saliba, the gentleman we just referenced, rotating to the outside. This is a great ball whipped in, and anytime you can get Jared Stroud an opportunity, one-on-one situation. Lovely first little touch. Second one comes back across the body to give him the opportunity. Go far post or near. Good challenge against the goalkeeper.
Stroud looking for his 10th goal of the season. There's so many things for New York Rebels 2 in the attack. Chris Lemma bends one in, and it's off the foot of a New York Rebels 2 defender. Looked like it was Sean Nealis, who was coming in late, and it just skirts wide. What a combination Sean Nealis and Jordan Scarlett have proven to be along the back line for John Wolynek. Two just absolute beasts, and we asked John Wolynek if he was going to do anything different to try to get New York Rebels 2 up for this 1 o'clock start. Bit of an odd start in the afternoon on a Saturday. And we asked him if he was, gonna maybe smack around Sean Nealis in the face a little bit in the morning to wake him up. He said, I'm not going near Sean and hitting him because he's a big dude.
It's a stature that he's probably not necessarily dealing with. One of the things you have to keep an eye on for this talented group on the back line of Red Bull 2 is their versatility, and it's the fact that you get guys like Scarlett and Nealis able to interchange on the back line. A lot of times you'll see isolated one-on-ones, right center back, left center back. They can rotate back and forth. Same can be said for Kyle Duncan.
Ball's kept low. Sliding challenge coming in from Hartford Athletic. There's actually Alex Davey.
You have multiple players that can rotate back around. You see that much easier on the defensive shape. There's Edgardo Ritu, who primarily is deployed on the right side, just trying to rip one in and find someone on the early post run. Can't connect.
Rito showing good strength, did well. And creates something out of nothing for New York Rebels 2, and a corner kick coming up for the visitors as Raymond Lee was defending along the byline. New York Rebels 2, a couple of very impressive results, both against the Tampa Bay Rowdies and St. Louis FC in their last two affairs in the USL Championships Eastern Conference. A 2-0 decision against Tampa Bay and a 2-0 decision against St. Louis FC. Jared Stroud in for Rito. He just tries the last one across. It was a nice little design set piece from New York Rebels 2, but nothing comes of it.
New York will take a corner kick.
Jersey native Lemma bends one in again. Dewey off of his line, punches it away, and Ryan Williams helps it even further. Kyle Duncan again, just taking one over the top, hoping that Elney is going to be able to run onto it. Frederick Dewey has kept Hartford Athletic in a number of games this season, whether it be to hold on for a point or give them an opportunity to go on and get the win. Terrific shot stopper, getting better in the department of communication and coming off of his line. Raymond Lee bringing it down, and just sends it into the channel. Alex Dixon, great little first touch. Lee, good entry pass in. Dalgard lays it off for Ryan Williams. It's back for Dalgard. Nice little nutmeg there, touches it through. Hartford Athletic were hoping for a foul, but it's going to be offside.
How interesting was it talking with John Wolyniak, that man right there, about kind of how impressive they've been over the course of this season. They made the reference to that 2016 team. That was the talking point. You can see through the first 22 games how identical the records are. Of course, the standings the same, even the goal differential. You and I were actually quite surprised at the fact that as good as this team has been defensively this year, they're still off the pace of that 2016 championship winning squad. And when you take a look back at their previous fixtures, I asked him, you guys have had some pretty impressive results. To you, what stands out the most? And immediately talked about the Tampa Bay Rowdies game, and we'll dive a bit further that in a second. But he initially made the reference to their matchup back on May 18th at Al Lang. He said he felt like they actually had the better run of it. That Juan Tejada, he called it a set piece. It was off a corner, nice little flick to the front post. Juan Tejada gets his first 2 goals of the season, and just felt like the shape overall was much better in that game compared to, and the way that they executed compared to other matches that they had already gone through. Now that's very early on in the season, but it was their ability to kind of divert their direction somewhere else. And what I'm referencing is the way that they took shape in the next matchup against the Rowdies. I said, you know, going back, John, and watching it, felt like your midfield was deployed in a much different manner. He said, yeah, to be honest, we created much more of a box. It's kind of the system you see out of the Philadelphia Union. Raymond Lee just running through people. How you can invert the midfielders, you tuck your outside mids in more, and that was trying to overload the middle and counteract that 5-back that Tampa Bay Rowdies throw at you. What happens? They get a great result, and now they've gone back-to-back impressively against 2 teams in the East.
Logan Gadula still on the move. Touched by Kofi. Stays with Hartford. Semdevitt. A little bit hopeful there. Think back to that 2016 USL Cup Championship side in New York Rebels 2 that won both the Shield and, of course, the Cup Final. Tyler Adams, Aaron Long, Ryan Mara, Junior Fleming, Stefano Bonomo. I mean, the list goes on and on. Speedy Williams. This is just a side that was littered with talent that features at the highest level in this country now.
You got about halfway through that list, by the way. It's ridiculous. Derek Etienne on that, Dan Metzger, Florian Velo, Vincent Bezecourt. I mean, this is ridiculous how good they are. Vincent Bezecourt, of course, on the field tonight. Bonomo, Brandon Allen. And Brandon Allen actually took USL Rookie of the Year that year. Aaron Long was Defender of the Year.
Brandon Allen had the Golden Boot as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll double check that for you. USL Cup MVP, all first league. I don't see that here in my statistics. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong.
He had a great final, though, against Swope Park Rangers.
Yes, he did. That was, but it's funny, you kind of look back and just go, really? Like, was it fair that they got to field that team? You go apologize to everybody else.
Great sliding challenge from Ryan Williams. Falls for Jared Stroud, who's working on Raymond Lee. Stroud, good entry pass. Here's another curling effort, but straight at Frederick Douay. And there was a great sign from the 19th Regiment, the support group for Hartford Athletic. And it's coming into the background here on the left side of your screen, Mountain Douay. It's too good. Foul goes against Hartford and Harry Swartz. Kyle Duncan working on Swartz. The pressure coming from Hartford, and that forces the visitors to go long. Hartford Athletic coming off of that really poor defeat against Nashville. We mentioned Mats Jorgensen, who of course is suspended for this game, sent off in the 5th minute. And then it just sort of unraveled at the start of the second half, as Rito getting to the outside and runs out of real estate. But Jimmy Nielsen said that he was not only pleased with the first few minutes of that game, but pleased with the response after Jorgensen gets sent off. It wasn't until around the 50th minute or so that the wheels really started to come off, and it was only a matter of time with the amount of talent that Nashville has. If they have an advantage numerically, they're going to take advantage of it, and that certainly was always in the card for Gary Smith's side, as Danny Pereira a bit too handsy trying to win that, fouls Kyle Duncan. And the physicality continues between these two sides. As we mentioned, just about 125 miles separates the two clubs from Dillon Stadium to Montclair State University's soccer park back in New Jersey, where New York Rebels 2 play their home matches. New York Rebels 2 again. Kyle Duncan finding Stroud. Gets bottled up a little bit, somehow still fighting through. More giveaway though from Hartford. Williams trying to clean it up. And bails Hartford Athletic out as that was a poor clearance, but Jimmy Nielsen liking the fortitude from Ryan Williams.
Ryan Williams got to be careful in this situation. He and Nicky Downs in the middle of the field just being overloaded a bit. And when the ball does spray itself out, I don't mind the idea of pushing it away from the pressured area. The better look here is to go back to your goalkeeper, though, Frederick Due, and let him do the wordy work. Just clear it 30, 40, 50 yards down the field and hit the reset button. He got lucky there. Knocks it about 5 yards across the middle. Lucky another Red Bull 2 player didn't just come across and collect it.
Hartford Athletic would like to recognize the Hartford and all of its founding partners for the 2019 season. The Hartford Athletic are bringing soccer shots to Dillon Stadium. Sign your 3 to 5-year-old now to learn from the pros at Hartford. Here comes Kyle Duncan. Lemma sends one across, deflected by Semdovic. And another corner kick for New York Rebels 2.
New York will take a corner kick.
Lemma back post. Nealis rising for the header. He actually collided with Jean-Christophe Kofi. I believe the 19th Regiment is Christmas caroling right now on August 10th. Let's get another look at that opportunity for New York Rebels 2 from the corner as Nealis is running into Kofi, occupying the same space.
And every other squad is doing Christmas in July and Christmas in June. They're just doing it in August. I have no problem with that.
No.
As long as I'm getting a present.
I've been a naughty boy. I think it's only
I'm tired
coal
of
you.
I'm tired of you wrapping up coal and putting it underneath the tree. We got to get past that.
I don't even put it underneath the tree. I just sort of hand it to you. It's just... Due has to get rid of it again. And this pressure from New York Rebels too. Certainly forcing Hartford Athletic to play a bit more direct than they would like to. But picking up second balls in the middle of the park certainly helps. Semdovic, good distribution to the feet of Harry Swartz. Here comes Gadula around the bend, creating a little bit of space. Now it's over for Gadula. But a good step from Kyle Duncan, able to keep the ball in play and win it back for the visitors. Williams getting stuck in. Now here's Nicky Downs, the Connecticut native. Downs poking it through, but too close to Kofi in the end. Elney checking back. Nice little dummy from Lemma. Now it's Rito. Stroud, first time delivery, denied by Raymond Lee, but yet another corner for New York Rebels too.
Notice the intellectual capability differences between two squads. On one end, Hartford Athletic, not necessarily an overload on numbers going forward, but they still had a chance, and you can't put a lot of the pieces together. And it's just like poetry in motion when you move into the final third for Red Bull 2. Just quick little touches, little step overs, always keeping the defensive unit second guessing.
Duncan back post. Over the head of Sean Nealis. He's not able to keep it in play. 22-year-old from Massapequa, New York. Actually made his debut with New York Rebels in Major League Soccer and Scotiabank CONCACAF Champions League back in February. It's the first game of the Saturday slate in the USL Championships, week number 23. Pittsburgh and Swope Park Rangers to kick off later at 7 o'clock from Highmark, Tampa Bay, with plenty of playoff implications on the line if New York Rebels 2 are able to get a win, taking on Birmingham Legion, Colorado Springs Switchbacks playing host to RGV, Nashville and Bethlehem to do battle, so on and so forth, as whistle is blown by our head referee, Elton Garcia.
Danny Barrera making some friends on that far touchline, having a conversation with the referee as Logan Gadula had shifted all the way up. Ball in behind Harry Swartz. The unit just oversteps a little bit. He'll go into the book. As we mentioned, was here earlier, then went back to FC Cincinnati.
Has issued a yellow card to Hartford, number 24, Logan Gadula, in the 21st minute.
Gadula shown mustard here about midway through the first half. Free kick sent in, and it was a good look for Jordan Scarlett. He took a bit of a knock coming down, but Hartford Athletic will do well to keep an eye on him, as well as Sean Nealis, when the visitors do have opportunities from the dead ball.
Logan Gadula once again getting right back into it, and you can just see the shoulder and the head coming back. And that's Sebastianelli just drifting through. And it'll be interesting to see for Logan Gadula, because this is his natural position, the outside back position. That's where he was so good under Bobby Muse at Wake Forest. Of course, gets drafted 13th overall by FC Cincinnati. Was initially loaned to Phoenix Rising, though with the depth that they had and the form that they were in, felt like, you know, he wasn't going to get any minutes. Send him back to Cincy, who immediately loaned him to Hartford. Then he's kind of been back and forth. Now an opportunity to get right back into that marking back position. What's the relationship like with he and Harry Swartz? Been tested a little bit in the opening 22 minutes.
Goes in for Dalgard on the turn, and it actually ended up being a terrific first touch, but he was trying to drag it out a little bit more to the left-hand side. But a good look there from Hartford Athletic, as Evan Laura was really quick off of his line.
It's funny how a player thinks in his mind, because he's got such a good left foot. He was trying to set him up there, but the turn was even better. He brought it all the way back across his body. Should have continued the progression to his right and had to go.
Nealis forced to get rid of it with Dixon looming in the area. Thumping header from Alex Davey, and then it was a bit too quick going out the other way.
How about the shout right there from John Wolniak? He said, Chris Lemma and Kofi, there need to be two of you in there, and he's specifically referencing he wants two holding midfielders sitting. He does not want any balls being sprayed over the top, or when these challenges are coming in, he wants that second ball. You can see that Hartford Athletic starting to find some space to go forward because of that.
Stroud on the turn, tried to take it through. Raymond Lee got a head to it, didn't know much about it. Rito slipping it through. Jared Stroud now. And an important touch there from Nicky Downs. Dalgard puts Raymond Lee in a bit of hot water, but he's able to clear it away. Danny Barrera giving chase. A little bit of a how do you do for Sean Nealis, as Jimmy Nielsen looked like he was doing the electric slide for a moment. And finally, everyone will be able to take a deep breath.
New York will take a
Corner kick coming up for New York Rebels 2 again. It has just been set piece opportunity after set piece opportunity. You just have to wonder, if you're John Wolniak, if any of these are going to be capitalized on. Chris Lemma, good delivery in. Hartford is first to it. And Williams fouled from behind. Fans, Hartford Athletics' next home match is an international friendly on Saturday, August 17th at 5 p.m. against the Puerto Rican national team, presented by Medela Light. For discounted tickets and to support hurricane relief efforts, use code RICO19, RICO19. Get your $10 tickets today at hartfordathletic.com/Puerto Rico. Call the Hartford Athletic ticket office or email tickets at hartfordathletic.com for more info. Barrera doesn't have a ton of options. Forced to go long over the top for Alex Dixon, but he's just offside. It was a very intuitive step from Jordan Scarlett in the end.
Even better ball being whipped up over the top. Alex Dixon has to do better here. This is really well done by Danny Barrera to drop back in and challenge some of these central midfielders to follow him out. Just create some space in behind the back line. Jordan Scarlett, Sean Nealis keep their heads on a swivel.
Here's Rito again, the Venezuelan curls one in. Only got a touch to it, but an important challenge from Sem David. Gets a nice fist bump from his keeper, Frederick Douay, and another corner coming up for the visitors.
A 6-1 on the night. This ball that gets whipped in, have to wonder how Alex David does not get a foot on this. Just lets it slide all the way through. Center back continuing his movement forward. You got to lay out for this one. Such a dangerous ball. You cannot allow it to get all the way across your 6.
Half a dozen corners on the night for New York. Lofted in. Another header that could have been won by New York Rebels too, but Sem David, a good challenge.
New York will take a corner kick.
Chris Lemma on him once more. Outswinger this time. Sem David first to it once more. Barrera touches it around Rito and gets bullied off the ball. Extremely young back line and just a young New York Rebels 2 side in general. You look across the back line for John Wolyniec. Kyle Duncan 21, Jordan Scarlett 23, Sean Nealis 22, and Edgardo Rito 23, the wily veteran of the group. Davey gives it away. Hartford exposed with one of their center back stepping through. Raymond Lee, clean challenge. And here's Lemma around the bend. Chris Lemma trying to pick somebody out. Davey gets a touch to it. Did Douay keep it out of the net? It was difficult to tell. Regardless, the 8th corner of the afternoon coming up for New York Rebels 2.
Keep an eye on Raymond Lee. Does a really good job here to track back over the first tackle. He gets in, and then watch as he comes up. Just loses his footing right there. Ankle almost gives out underneath him. And then very tentative in his action when he does make his way back to the upright position. Just kneeling over on the tail end of this play. Keep an eye if Red Bull go after that.
Lemma again. Driven towards the back post this time. Douay told he could see it out of play and a goal kick coming. Hartford trying to go really quickly and catch the New York Rebels 2 out of position and outmanned at the back. Still retreating for the previous corner.
Smart guys, find the ball, guys.
Talcar trying to turn. Good defensive prowess from Sean Nealis. And now it's Kofi directing traffic for the visitors. Dicey there from Logan Gadula. Jared Stroud trying to go through Sem David. And it's Kofi who gets called for the foul. Good body positioning from Ryan Williams, who's tasked with dealing with that overload of midfielders in the engine room for John Wolyniec and New York Rebels 2. And since that shout from John Wolyniec about 5-10 minutes ago, Devin, you have seen a much better response in terms of picking up second balls in the middle of the park for New York.
That goes for both directions of the ball. He was worried about the amount of opportunities that were coming for Hartford Athletics, specifically being pumped through the center of the field, but also their ability in transition, going the other direction. Can we pick it up and then explode going forward? That's where their bread and butter is at, and they had just gotten away from it for a little bit. And as you mentioned, momentum starting to swing back to the visitors. This is how the game is going to go for Hartford Athletico. You're going to have to maintain a defensive shape and pick and choose your opportunities going forward. Those long balls over the top coming out of Danny Barrera looking for Alex Dixon are going to be few and far between. So when you're only going to have a handful over the course of one match, you got to find a way to execute.
Ryan Williams, a good looking ball. Seconds available, here's Dixon, and he skies it. Probably the best look of the afternoon so far for Jimmy Nielsen's group. Half an hour gone here at Dillon Stadium, 0-0 between Hartford Athletic and New York Rebels 2. And there's a look at the Cigna Save Tracker. The Hartford Athletic is teaming up with Cigna to launch a new philanthropic campaign, Every Save Matters. Cigna will donate $75 for every Hartford Athletic save for the entire 2019 season, including the 87 saves the team made in games prior to launch. So far, Cigna has committed over $6,500 to Team Impact. Proceeds will benefit Team Impact, a national nonprofit that connects children facing serious and chronic illnesses with athletic teams, forming lifelong bonds and life-changing outcomes. Cigna is a founding partner of Hartford Athletic. Nice little touch through from Dalgard. Dalgard still with it. He tees it up. Great effort and a terrific opening goal for Hartford Athletic, coming by the way of Sebastian Dalgard. New York Rebels 2-0, Hartford 1.
Said that they just had to sit, maintain the shape, and find a way to explode going forward. Not surprised that it comes from the Danish man, Sebastian Dalgard. A bit shocking that it comes off the right foot, known for that massive left peg of his. Just unleashes on the back line, and more specifically on Evan Laurel from distance. 2 clean sheets in a row for the goalkeeper, but he can do nothing but sit back and watch the utter beautification put in full force by Sebastian Dalgard to put his squad out in front.
Nobody stepped to him, took the space, took the opportunity, and passes the test with flying colors. 4th goal this season for Dalgard. He's now tied for the team lead with Jose Angulo. And given all the set pieces that New York Rebels 2 have been able to muster up, haven't created all too many opportunities from the run of play. Frustrating to now go down a goal for John Wolnick's side. And Hartford Athletic with their first real chance on goal and first test for Evan Laurel, but nothing he could do about that one. Gadula trying to get around the outside of Luba. Here comes New York Rebels 2 trying to respond. Jared Stroud had pulled his run up. Bezecourt sliding it through. Luba across. Jared Stroud still able to get there though. Keeps it in play. Trying to go around Raymond Lee. Dalgard bodied off the ball by Bezecourt, but it was a foul. And the electric pace of this match continues.
is the right call by the referee as this ball makes its way back out. Dalgard just trying to go in transition again. Sebastianelli's got to wonder, what do I have to do to put one by this guy? Outstretched leg. Red Bull 2 does everything right in the build-up, just lacking that final finesse once they get in or around the goal.
Seven-match unbeaten streak, very much in jeopardy for John Wolyniec's side. Still plenty of football to be played, but at the moment it's Hartford Athletic with a slight advantage thanks to the goal from Sebastian Dalgard, his 4th of the year. Jared Stroud, first-time delivery, straight into Nicky Downs, and then cleared away by Alex Davey. Hartford Athletic fans, be sure to vote for your Cigna Man of the Match on Twitter using hashtag Cigna MOTM. Raymond Lee avoiding Stroud yet again. Pushing down for Alex Dixon. Referee says play on. Dixon sliding it through. Great little ball. Ryan Williams too heavy of a touch. And it's Evan Lauro off of his line to clean it up. Excellent patience from Alex Dixon and a great run from Williams, but the touch was just off.
Anytime you talk to Jimmy Nielsen, he'll tell you that when this guy is at his best, he may be one of the best going forward in all of the USL Championship. That's exactly what he's talking about. Lovely little vision to allow this play to develop. Everybody thought, myself included, this ball was going to rotate out to the left. Instead, it's that sweet little ball that just drops right in between Sean Nealis and Jordan Scarlett.
Nicky Downs with a nice little interception. A bit too quick trying to get it over for Sebastian Dalgard, who has the game's lone goal. Work rate in the middle of the park has been terrific for Jimmy Nielsen. Think about the likes of Nicky Downs, Ryan Williams, Sebastian Dalgard checking back, sitting underneath of Alex Dixon. Pereira looking for the big switch. Picture perfect ball out wide for Logan Gadula. Now he sends it in. Pereira trying to bring it down. Bezecourt on the turn. Luba in for Stroud, touches it along. Kofi delayed run. In for Stroud. Now it's Bezecourt on the first time into the backside of Raymond Lee. And it's Raymond Lee who gets called for the foul. And a makeshift corner coming up for New York Red Bulls 2.
Jimmy Nielsen not happy with the refereeing crew. Another opportunity for Red Bull 2 here. Well done by Raymond Lee to just step up. Outside volley for Bezecourt. Not necessarily sure that was going to be put on frame. But another set piece opportunity. I promise you this, that the halftime conversation will not only be trying to put these guys away and execute. We've provided ourselves too many chances going forward, but specifically from the dead ball route. You have big bodies like Jordan Scarlett, Sean Nealis, who have regularly shown you can put it up and let him go get it. They just haven't been able to do that so far.
Stroud, back post, but not his best delivery. And a throw coming up for Hartford Athletic. Well, we've seen some interesting results from Hartford at home in Dillon Stadium since they opened up against Indy 11. You think about that. 2-1 victory over Martin Rennie's side. You think about that wild affair against the Charleston Battery. They went down 1-0. They scored 2 goals in about 10 minutes to go up 2-1. They ended up losing 3-2. Now trying to fend off New York Rebels 2, one of the hottest teams in the league. Bezecourt trying to square one back for Elney. Last touch coming off of Hartford, and again, New York Rebels 2 will line up for another corner.
Now it's time to look into the variance of what you're trying to execute here. We're continuously giving them the same look, to be fair. Now it's trying to go to the training ground, and you want to go play the 2-man game in the corner, play quick and rotate back out. That's a good look. Get an opportunity to swing some of the bigger bodies out, rotation all the way to the back post. Mix things up a little bit here. You can't be as stagnant in your actions.
Kofi elevating for the header, cleared off the line. Dixon, positive first touch. Ryan Williams on top of it now. Dixon almost running into Williams. Counterattack still on. Out wide for Dixon. Here comes Kyle Duncan out to defend. Dixon around 2 different defenders. Williams on the turn, pulling one through. Defender slips, and a great save off the line from Evan Lauro. Harry Swartz had all day maybe thought about it too much.
Harry Swartz is going to want this one back. 71 appearances in college for Northeastern, only 5 goals. This is one of the reasons why. Thinking too much about it. Notice head down the entire way. He had made up his mind before this ball was even played exactly how he was going to let it go. You have to be more clinical when you get into those situations, especially against teams like Red Bull 2. Take a touch, have a quick little look up, and then go after the goalkeeper. It would easily be 2-0.
10th corner of the afternoon. They'll go short and mix it up. But the delivery short again, doesn't get past Raymond Lee. Danny Barrera. Dixon now on the turn. Nicky Downs making a run forward. Lee goes to ground. It looks like he caught his own man there in Sebastian Dalgard. Hartford exposed. Jared Stroud, first time delivery, not his best. And I think Jared Stroud will be the first to tell you, Dev, this has not been one of his better halves since coming onto this side a little more than a year ago.
Seen some poor decision making in the final third. That was one of the ones right there where you could easily just whip that all the way to the back post, put a little bit of air underneath it, just like you're seeing there, and then go get it. But his touches are off. Some of the runs when he's peeling off, it just seems a little disruptive going forward as Sebastian Elney plays a little cat and mouse with Frederick Toué. And we talked about the shape in the middle of the field. Really like the way that they've recovered, but hasn't looked the best, to be honest, over the past 15-20 minutes going forward. I'm not saying they haven't provided themselves some chances, but the ability for Hartford Athletic to just drop back a bit further than we saw in the opening 20 minutes when the game was a little more wide open. Being more direct is definitely a look to go for Red Bull 2, but again, it doesn't matter how much work you do 60% of the way. You still have to be more impressive once you get in to this offensive movements 20-25 yards from goal.
This is a good ball through. Rito trying to get there. Raymond Lee shields him out of play. Make sure he doesn't get a touch to the ball. Good defending for the veteran. Frederick Toué just with one really big save on the afternoon so far, and that came within the first 5 minutes or so when he denied a curling effort from Jared Stroud. Other than that, it's just been organizing, communicating. And that's going to be a foul called against Hartford Athletic, which certainly has the 19th Regiment and company here at Dillon Stadium up in arms. Kofi a little slow to get to his feet. Devin Kerr is a little surprised by the call.
This is one of the more shocking calls that you will see. Up over the back, there's no reason whatsoever that Ryan Williams has done anything wrong in this situation. Not at all. His momentum drifting like this, as a defender, if you're going to challenge a 50-50, you cannot come over the back of the midfielder like that. It's in a rule book. That is really simple, cut and dry.
The only thing that I can think that the referee might have been trying to call for was when you bridge somebody, but it wasn't one of those situations.
It's not bridging. He legitimately carried his momentum up over the top of Ryan Williams. If the jump comes from Kofi first, there might be a different argument. The problem is you still have to go straight up and down. If you jump up and someone comes up underneath you, it's a different story. They're both clashing in one direction. And I understand there's momentum there, but it always goes to the direction that the ball's coming from and the way that he's trying to bring it down. Good news is, to be fair, they're both okay. And it's a very dangerous situation that could have gone negative real quick.
Stroud lays it off. Here's Lemma on the first time. Davey gets in front of it. And that is most certainly a foul against Harry Swartz. And a free kick coming up for New York Red Bulls 2 as we're knocking on the door of halftime.
There's a quality little step here as the referee immediately blows the whistle. Vincent Bezecourt has got a nice little pep to him. He goes over, grabs the ball immediately, looking like he wants to hit this thing. And there is so much talent standing over the ball right now. But what an opportunity for this squad who's really struggled from set pieces in the opening 45 minutes to regain some traction going into the locker room. Little crack from distance, go after the goalkeeper. He's got 5 in the wall right now. And if you want to, you do have the opportunity to put a little chip over the top.
Good effort here, and Due gets a spectacular touch to it.
New York will take a corner kick.
Ensuing corner. Red Bulls 2 looking for the equalizer before the halftime whistle. And the corner wasted yet again. But Frederick Due stretches his bones, stretches his soul in order to get to that one and keep the clean sheet in the first half. What an electric first 45 minutes here at Dillon Stadium. Sebastian Delgard with the lone goal and the game-winning goal as it stands. Devin Curry, your thoughts on the first half?
Really impressed with Hartford Athletic and everything that Red Bull 2 threw at them, they were able to counteract. More importantly, we said momentum and a quick start for the home squad. That's exactly what happened. This is a team, 18 out of 24 matches, they have fallen behind early on. Not the case tonight. They sat in a block, then were able to go and transition the other direction. Red Bull 2 have to be better in the offensive third. They have too many chances going by the wayside.
Well, both keepers have been tested on a number of occasions. Both sides have created chances, but right now it's Hartford Athletic sitting in 17th place with a 1-0 lead over the second place New York Red Bulls 2. We'll be back in a moment. Halftime here at Dillon Stadium. Everybody able to take a deep breath as Hartford Athletic with a 1-0 lead over New York Rebels 2 in what was been a scintillating first 45 minutes of play here in Hartford. We'll step aside yet again and take a look at some of the best goals from the month of July in the USL Championship.
Statistically kept, unless you're keeping a track on mileage, does a lot off the ball to draw space for his teammates.
Collier weaving his way through. Elliot Collier for the hat trick. There it is! Elliot Collier with his third goal of the evening.
Vaquero, the touch to Asante. Asante looking for the cross, up to John, off the top post, and it looks like it went through. We're waiting for the call from the official. It did. Asante to John.
That's a goal.
It's too fan. You want to get yourself back in the game, and you've got to keep an eye on these two up front.
No question, constantly dangerous now. Another shot, perfectly placed in a goal.
Brilliant strike from Basu.
Where he didn't fit in with Bethlehem and really Philadelphia. Frater, lofting, header snapped in. New Mexico's run away with it. Weehan's feeling it now.
Played well, 1 goal, 3 assists on the year. Here's Bruce. And they've just gone up 2-1, and a fantastic strike from the midfielder who came on as a substitute. What an unreal strike.
Long range effort, oh, that's spectacular. Mads Jorgensen, his first touch of the night, and it's an absolute banger.
Then when the motion starts to flow, everyone starts to settle in. Then you can push forward and press the goal.
Rios! Off the post, hit in! What a missile that is! Goal number 11 of the year in Rios!
In the second half, the boys in purple have dominated.
Ownby charging on, curling the cross! That's excellent from Hartford! His first goal in Louisville colors! What a finish for Louisville! They lead!
Worry if you've got a lack of confidence, you'll just play it safe.
Hilton goes charging through, has to go! And what a strike it is from Lewis Hilton with a wonder strike. 2-0 St. Louis.
To keep it out does the 17-year-old.
Looked like it hit the heel of Forrester. And the Bold have the answer moments later. Guess who? Tierpak. Cervantes got the early rounds against the super sub.
A slew of spectacular goals from the month of July. Make sure to go and vote for your favorite goal from the 7th month of the year at USLChampionship.com. Hartford Athletics still with a 1-0 lead over New York Rebels 2 at halftime. Nothing's changed. We'll be back in a moment.
Fortune can hit from here. Oh!
McCarthy once more.
Blasted back in, and it's a goal for North Carolina FC.
Big shot and he scored. And Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it.
Philadelphia. Prater lofting, header snapped in. New Mexico to run away with it. Weehan stealing it now. The ball.
Fortune can hit from here. And how about North Carolina FC?
Plays it with Cooper, gets the return ball. Now Chavez to have a goal! What a strike from Jaime Chavez! His fourth of the year at Fresno FC.
Moto clipping it in towards the.
Oh, what a save! Tejas in a second save!
Santos was in behind.
Oh, that's the one. Second goal of the year.
Awesome stuff from week number 22. I indeed do want to dance with somebody, and his name is Devin Kerr. But before we dance, let's take a look at some news and notes from around the USL Championship, Mr. Kerr. Phoenix Rising FC looking to make it 13 in a row against El Paso Locomotive tonight. How about Corey Herzog, Dev?
A man who definitely does not have two left feet. Shades of the 2016-2017 season under Dave Brandt, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, where he went back-to-back 14-goal seasons, has been on an absolute tear. 11 through 23. Not bad. Not bad at all.
And how about the response from the USL Championship and just the entire El Paso community following the tragedy, as $150,000 from the ownership group of El Paso Locomotive has been donated to the Victims Relief Fund. Just terrific response from everybody throughout this league and the entire community in the wake of this tragedy. El Paso Strong will be on the patches of El Paso Locomotive's jerseys starting tonight against Phoenix Rising FC. And we'll take a look at some upcoming fixtures tonight in this week number 23 on a Saturday. We mentioned Pittsburgh Riverhounds playing host to Swope Park, Nashville playing host to Bethlehem. St. Louis FC will welcome the Charleston Battery. Louisville City FC should get 3 points against Atlanta United too, but their results as of late have been scattered. And Memphis 901 FC will play host to a very solid North Carolina FC side, and Tampa Bay Rowdies will be looking to keep pace with New York Rebels too if they are able to get an equalizer and perhaps a game winner, but plenty to be had on this Saturday with plenty of playoff implications on the line. And here's a look at where we stand in the standings in the Eastern Conference in the top 10. Devin Kerr, quick question for you. Is this the top 10 that finishes, regardless of where they're going to be in terms of order?
It's a really good question. The only mark for me could be that 10 spot, and that's it. I told you before, I think the game today against Charleston Battery and St. Louis FC is a vital one, not only because of that 10 spot, but more specifically, this is starting to take shape. If you look at 8 and 9, there's a gap starting to be created there. We obviously know what's going on at the top. Pretty sure the top 8 are set. Those guys are in. But the bottom 2, combined with a streaking team in the likes of Birmingham Legion and Charlotte Independence, they get a draw yesterday, but they were 4-0-4 prior to those 2 losses, so they made their way up back the charts as well. It'll be real interesting to see how that 10 spot plays out.
Well, we'll step aside yet again when we come back. Stats, highlights from the first half, and of course, second half kickoff.
Celebrate a night of good vibrations for a great cause with a band that gave America 36 top 40 hits. Trentolo and Trentolo presents the Beach Boys live in concert. August 17th under the stars at the Simsbury Meadows Performing Arts Center. Plus fun fireworks after the concert. Benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of Hartford. Tickets on sale now at TrentoloLaw.com/concert.
Plus fun. Liberty Bank presents fireworks after the concert.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small in small business.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Buck's got your back.
Nick, we need a decision. These days, we all feel a little anxious sometimes. But if you could see inside my mind, you'd find I go to my happy place. See, if we let tensions run the show up here, then our bodies won't perform at their best out here.
Wait, are we going to the sound check?
Priorities. So I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you that how you're doing emotionally affects you physically. Go for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you're feeling, physically and emotionally. Body and mind. Cigna, together all the way.
Just about ready to resume this one here at Dillon Stadium as the fans are grabbing a beverage, grabbing a snack, and taking a deep breath from what was a breathtaking first 45 minutes. And Devin Kerr will take a look at how we got to where we are in the scoreline. 1-0 to Hartford Athletic, and to this home side that's desperately looking for another 3 points to catapult themselves to a late season playoff push, and Sebastian Delgard just unleashes on one.
The headlines coming into the first half had to have been what was going on for Red Bull 2. 12 corners taken, 10 shots, 6 of them on goal. But it all came down to the strike by Sebastian Delgard from distance on the right foot, mind you. 31st minute, little touch off Danny Barrera. If you're going to give him that much space, he's going to make you pay. For all the things that had gone well in the middle field for John Wolinak's boys, he liked what Lemma and Kofi were doing. They get away from everything they did right, and Sebastian Delgard makes them pay. Hartford Athletic up 1-0. Really impressed by how they were able to get into a nice defensive shape and explode going forward. I promise you this, though, this Red Bull 2 team is not done. They have given up the first goal only 8 times this year, and only twice have they not gotten points out of it. They've gone 3-2-3 in that stretch. And the shift that everybody had to put in for Hartford Athletic opening 45 is going to be tenfold harder in the second half.
Well, we're officially underway in this second half. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. So glad to have you with us on this Saturday of a week 23 in the USL Championship. And right off the bat, a heavy challenge from Rito over on the far side. Devin Kerr, I ask you this question. John Wolinak obviously wasn't happy throughout periods of the first half, but when you look at the way that they controlled the game, they were in the driver's seat for most of the first half. There were certain things here and there that he definitely wanted to have tweaked, and we heard what those things were, especially picking up second balls in the middle of the field. What might be the message at halftime for a side that looked to be in control but still trailing 1-0?
This was the conversation at halftime, plain and simple. Boys, you're in this match. You're better than what's going on. You need to finish your chances. That's all this comes down to. Because yes, one of them got away, but that's one. I mean, honestly, how many times did Hartford Athletic truly challenge Evan Laurel on that back line? Not very often. A glimmer of hope here and there, but it was always Red Bull 2 and their ability to get forward impressively, mind you. All they have to do is stick to what they were doing in the first half, continue to wear this team down, and they will have success. The problem is that theory of doubt will continue to creep into your mind as this match goes on longer.
Good ball out wide from Bezecourt. Here's Rito trying to get to the outside, has Raymond Lee beat for pace. Rito sends it across, and it looked like a good touch from Alex Davey, and a corner kick coming up for New York Red Bulls 2, picking up right where they left off in the first half.
New York will take a corner kick.
And this is exactly what we're talking about, overlapping runs, getting guys involved going forward. We saw it out of Kyle Duncan and Gato Rito in the first half. And that's probably the one talking point you could say if you wanted some more offensive movement, where would it come from? It's out of the 2 outside backs.
Design set piece. Here's Luba on the first time and completely scuffs it. And we've just seen the sense of urgency from Hartford Athletic, especially on restarts, sort of giving New York Red Bulls 2 a dose of their own medicine. It's been really fun to watch.
Well, it's easy to establish your line in that manner. When the offensive machine that is Red Bull 2 have pushed their line so high, it's quick to go knock a long ball and then move your pressure up. What happens there is everybody, including Hartford Athletic, has to go in transition quickly. So you get these long balls over the top, where even if you do end up losing this 50-50 ball, like you just saw, everybody's already making their way back. So it condenses the field even more for Hartford Athletic. They're not playing in a 30-40 yard span in front of their own goal. They can at least have a fighting chance in the midfield and then go the other direction once they do regain the ball in possession. And you know, that's the one thing for Jimmy Nielsen he has to keep an eye on. They really haven't been able to get on the end of those that much. You've seen these long balls, and that's how you got the goal, to be fair. Long ball into the middle, quick little touch by Barrera, and then off they went. But if they want to be able to stay in this match with the 1-0 lead, they have to find a way to start getting on the end of some of this distribution coming out of the back, especially when Douay puts it down and plays that quickly.
Now a difficult task for Jimmy Nielsen to try to hold on to this lead and try to keep New York Rebels 2 off the score sheet completely as Elney takes it away from Gadula. Gadula's hurt. Elney into the area and a big save from Frederick Douay. He made a terrific save just at the end of the first half on a free kick from Vincent Bezecourt. Makes a massive one here on Elney in a 1v1 situation.
And sometimes they always say when you get into a buffet, your stomach's bigger than your eyes, right? Your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Backwards there. The first touch, he sees loads of daylight in front of him, and the ball just gets away from him, especially when he's got the option of Jarrett Stroud on the back post. A really wasted opportunity for Red Bull 2 just at the start of the second half. That's the other conversation that you would have with your manager. Your manager's going to say, go out in the next 5-10 minutes, really impose your will. That was the opportunity that the visitors were looking for.
You listen to Stroud. Duncan thought about letting it go for a moment. Luba. Duncan again. Now Bezecourt just dinking one in, a bit hopeful there. Semdovic first to it. Elney wiggles his way free. Rito to the byline again, working on Raymond Lee, and Raymond Lee just bumps him off enough so that the cross trickles into the hands of Douay. Semdovic wanting it to be a bit sharper along the back line, but Douay has been spectacular tonight so far.
Smart that he calms this down as well. We haven't seen Raymond Lee get exposed in that manner in this match so far. There's Edgardo Rito playing really high once again, and here's what we're talking about. When this ball gets knocked over, can you get involved? A little slip there by Harry Schwartz, and now space to be had for Red Bull 2. Lovely little step by Dalgard, though.
Poor giveaway from Lemma. Dalgard with a lone goal today. Nicky Downs. Barrera in space. Heavy touch from Downs as Schwartz didn't really do him any favors. Luba. Long range effort here from Lemma, and that sails into one of the concession tents. Looked like it knocked over a beverage of some sort. We've seen something that we really haven't seen from New York Rebels 2 a whole lot this season, and it is ambiguity and indecision in the final third and lack of execution to go with it.
Good. Is that 72?
Luba again. His first time delivery, a fizzing one. Here comes Bezecourt, challenge from Nicky Downs. As Bezecourt hits the deck following the play. John Wolnick wants a foul. Bezecourt has a hand up. Meanwhile, here comes Hartford Athletic on the other end. Alex Dixon has it taken away by Jean-Christophe Kofi. Devin, how do you feel about that plea from John Wolnick and the New York Rebels 2 coaching staff?
There's a shot coming through here, and you can understand where the talking point is. He says, I get it. He blocks the shot, but his momentum goes through. He kind of negated his first argument, though. If you go to ground and you win the challenge where your body goes after it, you're not always going to get that. And to be often, it's really never going to happen.
Dinked over the top. Williams, a bit too negative as the run's being made by Dixon and Dalgard. Or excuse me, Schwartz were more towards the goal. Elney's onside. Sebastian Elney, 1v1 again. Davey trying to bother him. Davey with some terrific defending, but it's going to be called a penalty. Oh, it looked for all in the world that Davey had done everything right, and it's a red card to boot for Davey. Oh, my word. You thought at just the very least it would have been a foul, if that. But the referee compounds the problem. Davey gets sent off a second straight game in which Hartford Athletic go down a man. And New York Rebels 2 not only with a chance to equalize, but will be playing with a man advantage for the remaining 30 minutes or so.
Red Bull 2 trying to stretch the back line, going in transition. Alex Davey working in back over the top of it. You know, that first look looks like he gets a touch on it when he comes back across. You just wonder if he gets his body all the way back through this. There is a tug on the back shoulder of Sebastian Elney in the one-on-one situation. Dewey had come off of his line, and it's that left arm of his that just continues to tug on here. Real time, looked like that left foot gets stuck out, and the two of them just inside the top of the 18 get taken down. Let's get another look. Much better one, pulling over the left side. I'll tell you what, man, he's pulling him down the entire way, and that's really hard, regardless if you get a touch on the ball. I immediately looked at you and I was like, how is this a penalty? Circumventing this entire thing, I understand where the shout comes from. And unfortunately, there's some language obviously going on the sideline. They don't necessarily agree with the referee's decision. Jimmy Nielsen getting involved as well now too. Frustrated, the fourth official talking to Raymond Lee. Here's the talking point though. You have to make sure this isn't on the challenge itself on the ground. It's where his arm is the entire time. That's where it gets me. I understand people at home are going to disagree with this, but if you keep an eye on the left arm of Alex Davey when he comes through here, he's actually reached back across the body of Sebastian Elney and started to pull him down to the ground. Watch it once again. Look at that left arm, left shoulder. Starts to pull the forward down the entire way, which doesn't allow him to get a touch in. Regardless of the fact that Davey gets the touch, this is the right call. A massive amount of frustration by the sideline, and if I was in Jimmy Nielsen's shoes, I would be saying the same thing. They do not have the luxury that you and I have, seeing this in a slowed down version from a different angle of what they saw in real time.
Listen, the foul seems to be the right call. The red card is a different story, though.
Totally disagree with the red card, and here's why. This is very much a last man type decision. The only time a red card gets blown here is if the player does not make a play on the ball to go into an actual challenge. Basically, if you're running full steam and I pull you down from behind and I go nowhere near the ball, I get thrown out for that situation. This is an inappropriate decision in terms of the red card. Foul, yes. PK, yes. Red card, no. You show a yellow and you move on. Because now, not only have you given the team an opportunity to equalize, now Hartford Athletic is down to 10 men.
And Raymond Lee, we're being told, is getting sent off as well. This is an absolute mess right now. You have to imagine that Raymond Lee getting sent off for dissent will have confirmation on that. So check this out. Raymond Lee making contact with the official. You can't do that.
Back to back. He wasn't afraid to pull the card, and that's Helton Garcia making those decisions in there. Right now, you just got to steady the ship. If you're Dewey, yes, you're going to go down to 10 men, but this is a goalkeeper who's shown that he can get it done in these situations before. Step up and give your team some momentum.
Here's Bezecourt, and he skies it. So a bit of justice involved. Ball don't lie ringing all throughout Dillon Stadium at the moment. But a colossal challenge in front of Hartford Athletic, who are down to 9 men, lead by a goal.
We saw him make a save from the penalty mark a few games past. Then Bezecourt just feels like every single time this team, whether earned or gifted, gets an opportunity in or around the goal, they can't make the most of it. Some words of encouragement by Sem DeVitt. But most importantly for Hartford Athletic, you are going to have a very long shift ahead of you. 30+ minutes, down to 9 men. John Wolenak making the changes, wondered what he was going to do. Actually had 2 of those pulled out, thought he might actually pull out an outside back, including a midfielder. Right now he's just going for Edgardo Rito, and that will most assuredly push Janos Lubik to the back line. Kyle Duncan will go to the right. Janos to left back. It's exactly what goes place. Ben Mines will go to left midfield.
Here's Luba in for Stroud. Back for Luba. His first time delivery all the way to the back post. And it rolls out of play. Listen, you don't want to go down to 9 men against any team in this league, but given the way the New York Rebels 2 play, the amount of numbers they throw forward, and how condensed you need to become when they do go forward, this is probably the last team that you want to go down to 9 men against.
Take my money. Forget it. If you have a bookmaker, go make a bet right now. I mean, this is one of those moments where you just kind of go, wow, this is trouble for Hartford Athletic. And yeah, it is. The saving grace, you're up 1-0. And the good thing is they're not chasing the game right now. We talked about that. All of that positive play we saw in the opening 45 minutes now has to find a way to poke its head out once again. You're just doing it with 2 less men.
And you're going to see time wasting galore from Hartford Athletic for the next half hour or so as well. Probably one of the more bizarre sequences we've seen in the USL Championship this year, or at least the game that you and I have been on, and we've been on most of them.
And they have pulled Jared Stroud over to the left side. Ben Mines goes to the right. That's the right move for Red Bull 2. And homegrown getting another opportunity for John Wolinak's squad as he still tries to make his way into senior squad.
Bezecourt out wide. Here's Lemma teeing it up. Deflection in front. Douay makes the save. Still loose. Semdovic stepping to it. Still available. Douay off of his line. Scrambling. Gets a touch to it. And Frederick Douay with a couple incredible plays to keep it at 1-0. But just the very tip of the iceberg. And what is going to have to be a titanic effort from Hartford Athletic. Here's Ryan Williams. Kyle Duncan gets a touch to it. Williams shielding it out on a corner kick coming up for Hartford Athletic. And they're going to need a lot more of efforts like that if they are going to hold on. And the Signet save tracker continues to tick forward.
Watch the goalkeeper. Resets himself on the first one, has to react, gets a little touch with the left hand. And how about this? All Spider-Man-like when he comes all the way outside of his 6. That's where your center back and Raymond Lee would be stepping in. Frederick Douay doing it all on his own. Kudos.
Ryan Williams with the corner. Straight to Kyle Duncan. They want a handball. Elton Garcia looks at everyone and waves it off. And Elton Garcia is not going to be welcome back to Hartford, Connecticut anytime soon with open arms. I guarantee you that. Devin, you were motioning for the handball. The 19th Regiment up in arms, no pun intended.
Elton Garcia not making a lot of friends. That's away from the body. The ball is up in the wrong motion from that right arm of his. Elton Garcia not doing himself any favors over the past 5-6 minutes here.
Kofi, penetrating pass in for Elney. Now wide for Bezecourt. Plenty of numbers forward for New York Red Bulls too. Elney in tight quarters, blocked by Semdovic in front. Here comes Luba. Now wide for the Fordham product. DeVig gets a touch to it again. Luba dinks it in towards the back post. Here's Kofi on the first time, and he skies it. Devin, let me ask you this question. It pertains to all sports. Do you believe in such thing as a makeup call?
Do I think it should happen? Do I think it does happen?
Do you think it should happen?
I do not think it should happen. I think it does happen on a regular basis, absolutely. And it does make you wonder how John Wolinak, regardless of if I agree with him or not, because I understand where he was coming from. He was barking at the 4th official, which
since the first half.
Since the first half. Not only that, since the challenge just before. And he's saying, on the tackle, I understand he gets the ball and the momentum goes through. How is that not a penalty? Before that talking point was even done, Elton Garcia had blown his whistle and pointed to the spot.
But not only on the New York Red Bulls 2 side of things, but he made the right call, giving the penalty. The red card and whatever ensued afterwards is a different story, as you get another look as Kyle Duncan was a bit too over-aggressive here. But is there a makeup call? Because if you keep giving makeup calls, where does it end?
You're chasing the game.
The whole time.
Round and round we go, and that's the definition of insanity, right? Same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And it's the same thing, though. And you have to wonder, you see how close it was with Raymond Lee. You can't do it. I get that. It is a heated moment. You can't do it.
This isn't a bad effort as Loro spills it. Did he keep it in play? The answer is yes for the time being.
But you have to wonder, the immediate conversation, I got to give Jimmy Nielsen credit here, and here's why I say that. With everything that's going on, and yes, he was arguing with the referee, and yes, he was talking to the fourth official, he actually went immediately to Ryan Williams and pulled everybody back and said, okay, here's how we're going to look going forward now.
Here's Elney, and New York Red Bulls 2 are level. It was always a matter of time. Dewey's frustrated, Hartford Athletic is frustrated, but with this much firepower, it was just inevitable.
Some tired legs. Danny Barrera can't get back. Logan Gadula having 2 marks here. He's got to account for the overlapping run of Bezecourt as well as the initial trailer. And unfortunately, the communication's just wrong. Yes, the field is compressed. I know you're down to 10 men, but that's still a situation where they should have done better. Instead, they now find themselves level.
And away we go from 1-1. And immediately Elney coming the other way. Downs gets a touch to it. Fourth goal of the year for Sebastian Elney. 23-year-old from Boca.
In the 64th minute.
Played his college ball at the University of Maryland. Actually came up through YSC Academy and the Philadelphia Union. And New York Red Bulls 2, wave after wave of attack. Jared Stroud now lays it off. Bezecourt, a little hesitant stepping to it. Ben Mines, Dewey gets a paw to it. And it's a shame for Hartford Athletic because they've done so well to throw New York Red Bulls 2 out of their game. And you hate to use this phrase, but New York Red Bulls 2 have very much been bailed out by those double red cards because this was not a game where they looked their sharpest, as Nicky Downs couldn't quite keep it out, or keep it in, I should say, and a corner kick coming up for the visitors.
You also wonder for Jimmy Nielsen what he's going to do now. And the reason I say that is you would have expected a substitution coming around the 65th mark if they were at 11 men. Now you got to find a way down to 10 with this blockade that has become 9. After the double red card, just what is it going to look like? You have to find a way to relieve some of this pressure, and it has to come in the form of fresh legs off the bench.
Mads Jorgensen, of course, suspended after his red card in the 5th minute against Nashville. Raymond Lee and Alex Davey will now miss the next match. At the bare minimum for Raymond Lee, he could end up missing a couple. I would not be surprised if there's more disciplinary action to come for Raymond Lee. Kofi, Luba, fizzing ball across. Hartford deal with it really well again. Tackle from behind, no foul called by Elton Garcia. Now it's going to be called. And prime real estate for New York Red Bull 2. And it's Alex Dixon who's shown mustard in the 67th.
And a shake of the head by Harry Swartz. Alex Dixon saying, my bad is Sean Nealis. It is from behind. There's a little step on the right foot. He gets it right. Yeah, the direction looked like he had gotten the boot on the ball a little bit. It is 100% too much on the center back from Red Bull 2. Dangerous opportunity here. Sitting right inside the about 25 yards out mark. We saw Bezecourt hit one just before halftime that was beautifully judged by Frederick Dewey. Now it looks like Chris Lemma feels like he's going to have a try with his luck. Jared Stroud in there as well.
It'll be Stroud. And it'll be a wasted attempt. Hartford Athletic fans, there is still time to vote for your Cigna Man of the Match on Twitter using hashtag Cigna, MOTM. It's got to be that guy, no?
The way things have gone, absolutely. Even when they were at 11, the full-strength team owes him a bit of gratitude. How good has he gotten over the course of the season? A guy earlier on this year that Jimmy Nielsen telling us some of the rust was still very prevalent. But that's what happens when you don't get a lot of game repetitions, and obviously training on a regular basis is a different story. But Frederick Douay gotten a long chance to really make his mark for this team.
And Red Bull 2 have obviously gotten a lot of production out of some big name players who have gone on to do some great things, not only at the Major League Soccer level, but at the U.S. men's national team level as well. Devin, there are a couple of other names that are stepping up and starting to get more opportunities as well.
And led that into John Wolonak. The easy name was Barlow up top, and he was rewarded for his efforts in May with a Red Bull contract. And said, you know, John, who are the guys that in your mind are right there? Of course, Reese Buckmaster recently got his back on August 3rd, and why not? That day makes his debut in a 2-0 win over Toronto. You have to imagine the fact that he's not in the 18 tonight. He has made the trip to Los Angeles. They'll take on LAFC tomorrow. But he also said that guys that were hot on the heels of that as well, Chris Lemma in the midfield and Jordan Scarlett in the back line, feel like those two have the immediate opportunity to make the step to the MLS level because they've been so consistent here with their training opportunities with that squad as well.
Ben Mines trying to cut it back. Touch from Logan Gadula, Nicky Downs. Good composure there.
A club that is just peppered with ridiculous amounts of talent. Always getting opportunities with their MLS squad, and it's quite impressive to see teams like Red Bull 2, Philadelphia Union, Seattle Sounders constantly getting that movement.
Here's Bezecourt, just lashes one in to the back of Semdovic. Stroud lets the ball do the work into the penalty area. Great little step over, lashes it across again, and just missed by Ben Mines.
Keep an eye on Semdovic, just flat-footed here. There's a little stutter, really well done on the cut-in by Jared Stroud. Now this one isn't redirected. We'll never know. Look at Ben Mines. There's another one of the homegrowns in action.
Hartford Athletic will use what few opportunities they have to make camp in New York Red Bulls 2 defensive territory. Dixon somehow gets it away. Dalgard now. He clips it into the penalty area, looking for Danny Barrera. Important touch from Luba. Barrera on the turn. Not nearly enough on the shot, but a good little sequence there from Hartford Athletic, still showing that they have teeth, even though they're down to 9 men after Alex Davey and Raymond Lee got sent off in rapid succession. Here comes Stroud on the other end. Jared Stroud going for the curler, and yet again cannot find the frame. He's done some good things, but this has been one of his probably weaker performances of his young professional career. And fans, Hartford Athletics' next home match is an international friendly on Saturday, August 17th at 5 p.m. against the Puerto Rico national team, presented by Medalla Light. For discounted tickets and to support hurricane relief efforts, use code RICO19. Get your $10 tickets today at hartfordathletic.com/Puerto Rico. Call the Hartford Athletic ticket office or email tickets at hartfordathletic.com for more info.
When we talk about talent for Red Bull 2, and obviously you have to have someone to lead them in the likes of John Wolonak, but play musical chairs with me for a second here. You bring Edgardo Rito off. You take your left back, Kyle Duncan, moving to right back. You take your outside left midfielder, Janusz Luba, bring him to left back. Your right midfielder, Jared Stroud, goes to the left side, and Ben Mines goes up top. Versatility is not even polite with what just went on there.
Stroud peels it back. Bezecourt cutting it back once more, and blocked in front by Semdovic again. He has put in a Herculean effort tonight.
tell you, the way that everybody's kind of diving in for Hartford Athletic right now, they have to be really careful. We saw one from Sendovit just before. That was Ryan Williams getting outdone a little bit just inside the 18. And the conversation with Logan Gadula right now is the transitional play, the movement from Hartford Athletic coming out. Why isn't a card shown there? Don't necessarily disagree, especially the way that things have gone. But credit to the supporters group stuck around. They are behind their boys right now, feeling that they still have a say down the stretch. If you're Red Bull 2, you cannot become complacent. The way that this game is played, remember just, what, 15 minutes ago, this Hartford Athletic squad playing at a very high level, now just struggling to maintain with about 15 minutes.
Bezecourt, good quick ball out wide for Ben Mines. Last touch coming off of Gadula and a corner kick coming up.
New York will take a corner kick.
Look like Vucic is getting set to come on for Hartford Athletic. Ball bounces in the penalty area, lofted in. Here's Sean Nealis. There's the go-ahead goal for New York Red Bulls 2. They've been pounding on the door ever since they went up 2 men. And Sean Nealis, the center back, nods home the second for New York Red Bulls 2. They lead here at Dillard Stadium.
Remember, just at the end of the first half, I said you got to give a different look. And I understand it's indirectly done off a deflection, but you have to find a way to use your best attributes in your favor. And what I'm referencing specifically here is the vertical attack. Sean Nealis, 6'4", the next closest player of Hartford Athletic, 6'1". That's a mismatch you see in multiple other sports. They just couldn't take advantage of it. John Wolinek's boys finally get out in front.
So Vucic comes on and replaces Alex Dixon. In a last-ditch effort from Jimmy Nielsen to inject some offensive life into this game for the home side. Kyle Karinga is going to come on and replace Sebastian Dalgard. This has been a bizarre fixture, to say the least. And Jimmy Nielsen's going to try to pull one more rabbit out of the hat to see if he can salvage a point.
Number 7, Sebastian Dalgard, in the 76th minute.
Luba.
Scored by number 15, Sean.
A bit too ambitious trying to squeeze that ball into a tight window as Harry Swartz with a good defensive play. Asking a bit too much out of Vucic. But New York Red Bulls 2 right now very much on their way to their 8th match without a loss. And yet another win. Bezecourt across. Good play from Nicky Downs. Looking to move their unbeaten streak to 8, John Wonek and New York Red Bulls 2.
Track back a couple matches for Red Bull 2. And what was the 8-1 drubbing of Atlanta United 2 back on July 13th. That was a situation where not only did they get out in front and stay out in front, John Wolenek continued to apply the pressure, making moves down the stretch to maintain the confidence of his offensive unit. You have to imagine up 2-1 outside of 10 to go. A similar look would be deployed here. Still plenty of options on the bench for him to bring on, and I would imagine that man right there might be one of them to come off. Janusz Luba. We've got Alan Giannis on the back line that could provide some relief in that situation. Great one-on-one defender, where if Hartford Athletic gets into a situation of the counter-attacking option, you've got fresh legs on the back line, but also the ability to stretch the game going forward.
Luba. Cut out by Swords. Fortuitous bounce for Hartford. Put out wide for Logan Gadula. Swartz in the middle of the field calling for it. Gadula taking the middle of the park. Kyle Karinga. Danny Pereira, not a bad idea over the top, looking for Vucic. And Devin, as I'm sure you know, there are scenarios that are practiced during training sessions, if you go down a man, if you're up a man, but having a training scenario where you're down 2 men, it's not exactly something that you prepare for.
I've been in this exact situation. Round of 16, I was 18 years old. I'll never forget playing the Tampa Bay Kickers. God, were they annoying. A team that just always applied a lot of pressure, like Red Bull 2, kept you running all match long.
Luba finding Stroud in his near post effort on the wrong side of the post.
We were up 1-0 with about 25 minutes to go. Ours weren't as close together in terms of the red cards as what happened in this match, but we had 2 in about the span of 10 minutes. Next thing you know, they scored 2 goals. Believe it or not, we found a way to come back. We scored 2 goals down the stretch, including a penalty, so there is a way to get some momentum going forward here. Credit to that man right there, Ryan Williams. He put in a heck of a shift with or without 11 men on the field. His manager will be appreciative, but they're still looking for a way to get back into this. It can be done. You just have to understand that this not only comes down to the physical attributes and how tired your legs are, but the mental tenacity it takes. We're just sitting and defending over and over and over again, and then getting an opportunity to explode going forward. That's when you are truly put to the test.
Fans, today's official attendance is 4,262.
Luba along the byline. Stroud, Due off of his line, loose in front, and it's a third for New York Red Bulls 2. Clean movement from the side that's up 2 men. Now lead by 2 goals, Vincent Bezecourt. A sliding effort at the far post.
And finally, Bezecourt gets his goal. Had the penalty earlier, the free kick just before first half, beautifully saved by the goalkeeper. And Vincent Bezecourt gets his second one on the year. We referenced how similar that 2016 championship team was to this 2019 squad. Vincent Bezecourt was on that team. 2016 USL champion. And you just wonder, when the stars start to align, is this another year where John Wolinek's boys have the ability to make a run? We talked about the road record, that's been better.
How about the 8th assist of the year for Jared Stroud? Duncan in for Stroud. Taken down from behind by Bedoya, who just came on.
It's sitting at 3-1. With all due respect for Hartford, the game's over. And that's very, very frustrating because they were impressive up until that double red. And even after that, a little bit of movement, but still, it was always going to be a tall ask of them to get back into this match and find a way to at least maintain it down the stretch. Now Red Bull 2 just toying a little bit. They will try and add insult to injury if possible.
Luba again, back for Stroud, and Jared Stroud punches one home. It's 4 for New York Red Bulls 2. It's a 10th on this season for the New Jersey native and Colgate product. And Red Bulls 2 finally just starting to run away with it.
More importantly here, we said that they were going to continue to go after it. When we asked John Wolenek, said, John, you've had some really good results. Offenses look good, defenses look good for you. Where do you need to get better? He said, we need to find a way to finish more consistently against teams that want to give us the ball and want to sit in a deep block. And that's exactly what's happened here for Hartford Athletic. Yeah, I get it. It's circumstantial. But they've gone down to 9 men. They packed themselves in, hoping to try and escape from here. He felt like the first time they were really able to do that was the first goal in that recent victory against St. Louis. They've now gotten 2 in the span of a matter of minutes, putting themselves up by 3.
And we're going to have 2 substitutions for John Wolenek. As it looks like it's going to be Labella and Esposito coming on.
Assistant number 66.
So on comes Bryce Labelle. Lima will step off. Lemma, pardon me.
Have a little fun for the Academy product now. Only his 3rd appearance on the year, but Bryce LaBella, another one of those talented youngsters, just being pumped out of this program.
Substitutions for New York.
San Esposito waiting to come on. Youngster came up to the likes of Manhattan Kickers before moving to Italy. Luba, first time effort, saved in front by Due. He really has been sensational tonight, despite the scoreline.
Notice the past 2 goals and that build-up as well. They are identical. Ball down into the channel, quick ball back across. It's the little tight movements that you practice on the training ground that are now matriculating into this performance. And everybody's going to say, yeah, well, they're down to 9 men. I promise you, it is just as difficult when there's 8 bodies in or around the 18 and you're knocking the ball back and forth to finish things off. The only difference is here is the legs are just a bit more tired.
And these have just been 2 wildly frustrating games for Jimmy Nielsen's side, especially coming off of their first clean sheet of the season, a true out-and-out professional performance on the road at Talon Energy Stadium against the Bethlehem Steel. They go down a man in the 5th minute when Matt Jorgensen gets sent off against Nashville. Definitely the right call on the red card, even though Jimmy Nielsen still doesn't 100% agree with it. And then this game, you lead 1-0. Challenge from behind by Alex Davey. Okay, penalty, no worries. But to have 2 players sent off and then to eventually go on to lose this game by multiple goals, it's just got to be an incredibly demeaning and just frustrating couple of results. As LaBella lets one fly straight into Nikki Downs, who caught the brunt of it. Eric Swartz staying on his feet, draws the foul.
And mentally defeating is putting it kind. How about a guy who just stepped up, Chris Lemma, talked about the opportunities of what would be for him going forward, how he might be the next one up in this match. He actually moved up to 3rd all-time on Red Bull 2's minutes list. Dan Metzger sitting at 1. Jordan Scarlett, current center back, sitting at 2, so he's in pretty good company. Just continue on his professional progression, and to that man right there, a lot of opportunities in the first half. The missed penalty, still found his way to make his mark. Took him to the 81st minute to get the goal, but the ball played in to Sebastian Elney in the 64th minute to get the equalizer, probably a bit more important.
And Esposito comes on. He was actually part of that wild affair for New York Rebels U23 in the U.S. Open Cup against FC Motown, if you remember, all the way back to the first round of the 106th edition of Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. What was that, about a 6 or 7 goal affair?
I thought it was the 10-10 game.
No, not that one. Kofi taking the space given to him. Kofi now lets one fly. But Kofi pulled up a little bit lame taking that shot.
He's going, oh wow, you could read his lips. Does not like how his body reacted to that follow through.
That's something I'm sure you're all too familiar with, because as soon as you strike that ball and just the whole thing just tightens up.
Fortunately enough, they're up by 2 men, but they're out of subs. You could pull one off here. Still call it a comeback.
That's just mean. Yeah, Kofi goes down.
He was tugging at that outside leg. He's still going for it. Trainer's going to be working on him. See if they can possibly help him see this thing out. On the reverse side of things, John Womack He's an intelligent man. He's not going to chance this. Just pull him off, have him see out the final minute and a half plus stoppage time with 10 men up 3 goals. They lose that one. You're not going to be running. You'll be running for a new contract.
This will be an interesting stretch for New York Rebels 2 in the final part of this 2019 campaign demo. We already talked about how New York Rebels 2 historically, with the exception of 2016, have struggled on the road. The majority of their games are going to be away from Montclair State University Soccer Park. And if they're going to try to emulate what happened in 2016, at least from a regular season standpoint, that 2016 team that featured the likes of Aaron Long and Tyler Adams, they won their last 9 out of 10, went on a 10-match unbeaten streak, and then cruised to a USL Cup championship.
I promise you this, that's not happening this year. 3 out of 12, 75% are going to be on the road. Only 3 home games, and you're going to have to do it against some really tough opponents. Let's just take a look at the road games. On the road at Nashville, at Indy 11. They'll go to West Community Stadium, formerly Toyota, for St. Louis FC. Go to Slugger Field against the back-to-back reigning champions in Lou City. Dave Sarakin's boys are in on that mix. I mean, you're talking about some really tough venues that you're going to have to play out at. They'll finish off at Secker Field on October 19th. And the way that they're playing, you just wonder if they can maintain the momentum down this stretch, especially when that separation, as we mentioned, is starting to occur towards the top of the Eastern Conference. You kind of see the cream rising to the top. Tampa Bay Rowdies have been pretty consistent. Red Bull 2, a lot of talking points. Indy 11, North Carolina FC hot on their heels. Only difference for Indy 11 is they've got 2 games in hand on both of those squads.
Here's Esposito trying to take it on the first time, but a foul right at the edge of the penalty area on Sebastian Elney. Let me ask you this, Dev. If I were to have told you after, let's say, week 7 or 8, that there was a strong possibility that nor Louisville City or St. Louis FC could have a home match in the first round of the postseason, what would you call me?
After week 7 or 8?
Yeah. Crazy, insane. Just the lunatic you're looking for.
A lot of other things that don't make it to air. And the way that the form played out for St. Louis FC early on this season, everybody assured that they were just going to run away with it. They were going to stay in the top 4, no problems. You actually asked me the question, could a team like that maintain a defensive shape and still have success on the offensive end? I said yes, they didn't need a natural number 9. They've proven that. The problem is they proved it at the wrong level. It was all within US Open Cup.
Oh, that's sensational. Doesn't do much to the result, but for Luba, it's a highlight reel goal and then some. That is an absolute firecracker that some of the best goalkeepers in the world couldn't dream of getting a touch to. Luba makes it 5-1.
And we said this guy coming in is second in assists in history at Fordham, behind his manager, John Wolyniak. I promise you this, when he walks into the dressing room later, he's going to walk over and say, "You ain't taking that one away from me." First goal in a Red Bull 2 uniform. What a strike.
New York goal scored by number 66, Janos Luba.
Dillon Stadium has already seen some really incredible goals. Think about Mads Jorgensen's strike twice.
No other goal in any sort of fashion could be scored, and that would do it for me right there.
Which one did you like better? Is one from open play or the one against Pittsburgh?
I like the one in open play.
Yeah.
Just because of the distance that it was, and to hit it that true from so far out, when there's bodies in front of you, the goalkeeper can adjust. The degree of difficulty for me is much higher. The free kick's still brilliant, but just to have the great first touch and then follow it up with something as spectacular as the strike he put on that ball. I mean, that was a serious move from distance.
Swartz in for Vucci. Looking for an option, but I'm sure realizing about halfway through turn number 2 and 3 that, oh, that's right, we're down 2 men. Buchik trying to snap one on frame from about 17 yards out.
We talked about Red Bull 2 and what they were going to have to endure. Hartford Athletic will be on the other end of that talking point, where they've got a boatload of matches at home coming down the stretch. 6 more to be exact out of the remaining 9. And they've got an opportunity to pick up some points. Atlanta United 2, a team that has not gotten back on track. It'll be on the road against St. Louis FC. Loudon can be thrown into there. Swope Park Rangers, Birmingham, teams below the playoff line. Points to be had.
Well, points to be had for New York Rebels too, and they officially move into first place in the Eastern Conference after a wildly entertaining and bizarre affair at Dillon Stadium. Hartford Athletic led 1-0 after the halftime break, and then Davey and Raymond Lee would get sent off in the 53rd minute. New York Rebels 2 would score 5 unanswered goals as they had a 2-man advantage for the rest of the affair. And New York Rebels 2 come away with a 5-1 decision. Sebastian Dalgard is your Cigna man of the match, who had a spectacular individual effort to get the scoring started back in the first 45 minutes, but that would be probably one of the only positives to take away besides the outstanding play of Frederick Douay in goal. And here's a look at the Stanley Innovative Play of the Game. Hartford Athletic would like to thank our founding partner, Stanley Black & Decker. Stay tuned each week for the Stanley Decker Innovative Play of the Game, and here it is. It's a good strike.
Jorgensen, who? Trying to make his own highlight reel going. Great strike from distance by Sebastian Dalgard. That would obviously prove not enough. Referee has an impact on the match. If you're Hartford Athletic, hold your heads high. This is a really demoralizing situation, but they did very well for themselves for the better part of 65 minutes. All of that would change with the 2 red cards.
3 points for New York Rebels 2, another frustrating loss for Hartford Athletic. Now back-to-back New York Rebels 2, make it 8 unbeaten. We'll be back in a moment to put a bow on it. Full time here at Dillon Stadium. A gut-wrenching loss once again for Hartford Athletic and Jimmy Nielsen. They led 1-0. It probably would have been their best win of their young existence, Hartford Athletic, but the referee and the way that the game unfolded had other plans. Finishes 5-1 to New York Rebels 2, who certainly took advantage of their man advantage, 2-man advantage. And we'll take a look at how it all went down. Tevin, Sebastian Dalgard gets things started with an absolute missile.
In order for this team to have success against a talented team like Red Bull 2, you have to sit back, withstand sustained pressure, and then find a way to transition in the other way. Great little ball by Semdevit into the movement going forward. Little flick on by Sebastian Dalgard from distance. That's what he did. Here's the moment that changes the entirety of the match. Initial complaint is going to be it's no pen. Look at the left arm. Starts pulling him down. Yes, he gets a touch on the ball. This is 100% a penalty. The referee gets it wrong, though. It's a yellow card. No way, shape, or form is this a red. He is making a play on the ball. So you change the game there. Where else do you change it? Raymond Lee gets stuck in on the referee. Full headbutt into the upper shoulder on our first official, Elton Garcia. He gets sent off as well. They go down to 9. Bezecourt missed the penalty. Any momentum left? Yeah, we'll find a little bit. Sebastian Ali gets on the board. Great ball back across. Nice recovery by number 88 to find their striking number 9. Elney puts it in the back of the net in the 64th minute. We're knotted up at ones.
Well, New York Rebels 2 would never look back. How about Sean Nealis rising to the occasion? Gets a goal for New York Rebels 2 when they needed to sort of just poke their heads out in front. They would never look back.
We're going to play good news, bad news here. The good news is Red Bull 2 on the road get another victory. They do it with multiple goals hitting the back of the net to the tune of 5. But all 5 of those came when you had the other squad down to 10 men. For a team that has been so impressive in the final third and maintain such consistency on the defensive side of the ball, was not impressed with this team when they got into their offensive movements going forward. They are 11th. Yes, I said that, 11th in conversion rate in the USL Championship. This looked like a team that was at the bottom of the barrel, gifted a massive amount of opportunities going forward to the tune of 30-plus shots on goal. 30-plus shots. Most of them wouldn't hit the back of the net. The final few would. Lovely free kick down the stretch by Janos Luba. If they want a challenge for a title, much like that team we referenced back in 2016, they have to be more clinical when they get into their offensive shape.
And Luba's 5th goal for New York Rebels 2 actually pulls them even with Phoenix Rising for most goals in the USL Championship this season. Hartford Athletic will have to lick their wounds yet again and try to bounce back. Now 2 losses in a row. New York Rebels 2 make it 3 wins in a row against some very quality teams in Tampa Bay, St. Louis, and add Hartford Athletic to the list. John Wolinek's group now 8 unbeaten, streaking in the Eastern Conference as they are now in first place. Tampa Bay Rowdies will try to keep pace against Birmingham Legion later tonight. For our entire crew, my broadcast partner Devin Kerr, Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. The final score from Dillon, New York Rebels 2-5, Hartford Athletic 1. We'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.